Her ex called himself my kid's bonus dad on Facebook. So I exposed the messages he sent my fiancée 3 days earlier and watched his whole family turn against him while her lies fell apart in real time. It started with a Facebook notification on a random Wednesday afternoon. I was at work, halfway through a spreadsheet and a cup of burnt office coffee, when I saw it. Jason tagged you in a post. Jason, my fiancé's ex. That alone was weird enough. The guy had been mostly quiet for the 2 years I'd been in the picture, except for the occasional accidental text about something the kids left behind. Spoiler, they didn't. I clicked the tag, and my stomach went cold. There it was, a smiling photo of my fiancée, Melissa, our 2 kids from her previous marriage, Emma and Leo, and Jason himself, standing in the park. The caption read, "Nothing like spending time with my bonus kids. They grow up so fast, red heart, #family, #blessed." The comments were full of heart emojis and so sweet, from his friends and relatives. But the kicker? Melissa had liked it. At first, I thought maybe I was overreacting. They share custody, sure, but Jason had met the kids twice since Melissa and I got engaged, both times under awkward circumstances that ended with him making snide remarks about me. Still, bonus dad, that wasn't innocent. That was a statement. I scrolled through the comments, and someone even replied, "You're such a good role model for them. They're lucky to have 2 great dads." And Jason answered, "Thanks. I try to step up where I can," winking faced. That was it. That little wink did more damage than any insult could have. I felt something tighten in my chest, that mix of disbelief and quiet fury that sits heavy instead of exploding. So I didn't argue. I didn't text. I simply commented, "Interesting title." Then I locked my phone and got back to work. Or, at least, I pretended to. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't some misunderstanding. Jason had been trying to get back into Melissa's life ever since I showed up. And Melissa had been letting him. That night, I waited for her to bring it up. Dinner passed. Bedtime for the kids came and went. Nothing. So I said casually, "Hey, saw Jason's post today." She froze for half a second, just enough to confirm what I already knew, then smiled. "Oh, that? Yeah, he's just trying to be friendly. He misses seeing the kids." "Bonus dad sounds more than friendly," I said quietly. She shrugged. "He's harmless. You're overreacting." That phrase again. You're overreacting. The all-purpose eraser of accountability. I didn't push it. Instead, I told her I was heading to bed early. But I wasn't going to sleep. Because what she didn't know was that, a week before, I'd noticed Jason's name popping up in her message previews. Just the top bar of the screen, enough to recognize it, not enough to read. That night, when she finally went to shower, I opened the iPad we shared, the one synced to her phone. And there it was. 8 unread messages. From Jason. The first one hit like a gut punch. "You looked so good today, Mel. Seeing you again reminded me of what we had." The next, "I still can't believe you're with him. You know this isn't you." And then, "When are you dumping him and coming back to me?" 3 days ago. 3 days before the bonus dad post. I stared at the screen for what felt like an hour. Every rational thought slowly peeling away until only silence was left. And then, calm. The kind of calm that comes when you stop hoping something isn't true. I took screenshots of everything. The messages, the timestamps, the Facebook post, the comments, the likes. Then I did something very deliberate. I saved them to a shared folder labeled Vacation Photos. Melissa never checked those. I went to bed and slept better than I had in months. Because now, I wasn't just reacting. I had a plan. The next morning felt eerily normal. Melissa was humming in the kitchen, making pancakes for Emma and Leo like nothing had happened. She looked over her shoulder, smiled, and said, "Morning, babe. You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Just tired." I wasn't tired. I was focused. Because that night, after the kids went to bed, I was going to end this. Not with shouting or tears, but with clarity. At work, I sat in the break room scrolling through Jason's social media. His entire feed was a highlight reel of fake wholesomeness, gym selfies, Bible quotes, and inspirational captions about redemption and fatherhood. The comments were always full of his mom, sister, and random women hyping him up. I knew exactly what that image meant to him, and I knew exactly how to break it. So I waited until evening, when Melissa went to take the kids to her mother's place for dinner. I opened Facebook, attached the screenshots, and typed a caption that was sharp enough to slice through his entire performance. "Hey Jason, Just wanted to thank you for being such a devoted bonus dad. Here's a few bonus messages you forgot to post publicly from 3 days before your family photo. Hope your mom enjoys this more than your fake Bible quotes. Then I added a simple note underneath. For context, this is my fiance's ex. He's been trying to reconnect, and not just with the kids. Click. Post. The reactions came instantly. Within 5 minutes, there were over 50 comments. People tagging each other, laughing emojis, shock emojis, and then his mother commented, "Jason, is this true?" Followed by, "Melissa, I'm so ashamed of both of you." Then came the call. Melissa's name lit up my phone, vibrating so hard it almost fell off the table. I let it ring. Then Jason called. I let that one ring too. Finally, his mother called. That one I answered. "Sweetheart," she said, her voice shaking with rage and humiliation. "I am so sorry. I didn't raise him like this. He's been lying to all of us. You did the right thing exposing him. I didn't even have to say anything." She just kept talking, apologizing, promising to talk to him, to talk to Melissa, to make sure the truth came out. And then, before hanging up, she said, "Honestly, you should get a restraining order." I'm going to tell her the same thing. When Melissa came home later, her face looked drained, eyes red, makeup smudged. She didn't even close the door before blurting out, "What the hell did you do?" I told the truth, I said simply. "You embarrassed me in front of everyone," she screamed. "You embarrassed yourself," I replied. "I just provided the evidence." She stood there for a long time, shaking her head, trying to find words. Then she finally whispered, "You didn't have to ruin his life." I looked her straight in the eye and said, "He tried to ruin mine." That night, I packed a small suitcase. Not in anger, but in peace. When someone shows you who they are, you don't argue. You just stop giving them access. I booked a hotel downtown for a few nights. Melissa cried when she realized I wasn't bluffing. The kids were confused, asking why Dad wasn't coming home. I told them I loved them, that none of this was their fault. And then I walked out the door. No yelling, no slammed doors, just silence, the kind that hurts more than shouting ever could. The next morning, my phone exploded again. Not from Melissa, but from friends, coworkers, even distant relatives who had seen the post. Some said it was savage. Some said it was deserved. But one message stood out, from a guy I barely knew. "Man, I saw what you posted. I work with Jason. He's been bragging about trying to win her back for months. You did what everyone wanted to do." That's when it hit me. How many people knew something was off but stayed quiet? I hadn't destroyed his image. I just revealed it. That weekend, Melissa's mother called me. She was furious, not at me, but at her daughter. "She made a fool out of herself and our whole family," she said. "You were too good for her. Always have been." Then she said something that stopped me cold. Jason's mom called me. She said he's been banned from seeing the kids until he gets therapy. Apparently his ex-girlfriend before Melissa filed a restraining order too. It was one of those rare moments when the universe cleans up its own mess. That Sunday night, I sat in my hotel room overlooking the city, finally breathing again. No more anxiety. No more guessing what she was hiding. Just peace. But as I scrolled through my messages, I saw one more missed call. From Melissa. The voicemail was shaky, tearful. "I made a mistake, okay? I didn't mean for things to go this far. Please, I just want to talk. The kids miss you." I listened to it twice, then deleted it, because I'd realized something that night. Sometimes closure isn't a conversation. It's silence.update that it's been about 2 weeks since I hit post. I thought the chaos would die down after a few days. But if the internet has taught me anything, it's that truth has a long half-life, and humiliation travels faster than light. Day 3, the ripple effect. The post hit 200,000 shares before I even realized what was happening. Some Reddit thread titled, "Guy finds out his fiance's ex calls himself their kids, bonus dad, handles it like a legend," blew up overnight. Memes, reactions, podcasts, everyone had an opinion. Some called me a hero. Some called me petty. And honestly, both were true. But behind the screens, real lives were falling apart. Melissa's job, a marketing firm where image is everything, called her in for a meeting. Apparently, one of their clients had seen the post. They didn't want personal scandals attached to their brand. By the end of the week, she was on indefinite leave. Jason didn't fare much better. His boss, who had seen the post because someone emailed it to HR, suspended him for inappropriate conduct with an employee's partner. That employee was me. And as poetic as that sounds, it still felt strange. Because I didn't post to destroy them. I posted to stop being their collateral damage. Day 6. The message. I was at the gym when my phone buzzed with a new message request. It was from Jason's mother. Thank you for showing me who my son really is. I thought he had changed. I'm so sorry for everything you went through. I didn't respond right away. I just stared at her message, realizing how many people had been manipulated by his redemption story. He wasn't just lying to me. He was lying to everyone. And yet, part of me pitied him. Because the internet doesn't just expose people, it erases them. Day 9. The call from Melissa. She called me while I was driving home. I didn't want to answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Hey, she said softly. Her voice sounded smaller, fragile, almost. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For all of it. I didn't interrupt. I let her talk. I thought I could handle both worlds. The attention, the validation, the excitement. But I ended up losing everything real. I know it's too late, but I just needed you to know that I know. There was a long pause. I forgive you, I said finally. Not for her, but for me. She started crying. Then she whispered, I miss the way you used to look at me. I didn't have the heart to tell her that the man who used to look at her that way didn't exist anymore. Day 11. A familiar number. I was getting ready for bed when I got another message. This one from an unknown number. Hey, it's Jason. Can we talk? My first instinct was to block him immediately. But curiosity, that stupid, human curiosity, made me reply. What's there to talk about? He sent a wall of text. Apologies. Justifications. Excuses. He said Melissa had told him I'd forgiven her. And he hoped I could forgive him too. I typed 3 words and hit send. We're not the same. Then I blocked him. Because forgiveness doesn't mean access. Day 13. The interview request. A local journalist reached out. She said she wanted to write a piece about digital accountability and thought my story was a perfect example of emotional transparency in the age of social media. I laughed, because in truth, there was nothing glamorous about what happened. It was sad, messy, human. But I agreed, on one condition, anonymity. The article went live 2 days later. Title: When the Truth Goes Viral. How one man's post sparked a conversation about boundaries and betrayal. And that's when I realized this wasn't just my story anymore. It had become a mirror for everyone else's unresolved pain. Day 15. The peace. I moved out of the hotel and into a new apartment. Smaller, quieter, filled with sunlight. The kind of place that doesn't carry echoes. The kids come over every weekend. We cook together, play Mario Kart, and talk about school. They're adjusting, better than I expected. Melissa and I keep things civil. We talk only about the kids, never about the past. Sometimes she lingers a second too long at the door when dropping them off. Sometimes I see the apology still sitting in her eyes. But I've learned that peace doesn't come from getting the last word. It comes from knowing you no longer need one. When I check my phone now, there are no missed calls, no accusations, no chaos. Just messages from friends, pictures of the kids, work emails, normal life. And after months of noise, silence finally feels like music. Final update. It's been a little over 1 year since everything happened. The posts, the fallout, the messages, the noise, it all feels like a different lifetime now. Sometimes I scroll back to that viral thread, the one that started it all. It's archived now, buried under layers of newer scandals, fresher heartbreaks. But every once in a while, I see a new comment appear. He handled it with class. This story still hits. Wish I could have stayed that calm. I smile every time, not because of the praise, but because it reminds me how far I've come. The life after. I never thought I'd say this, but life feels peaceful now. The kids and I have a rhythm. They split their time between homes, and somehow we've turned that arrangement into something that works. When they're here, the apartment feels alive. We cook, watch old Pixar movies, and sometimes, when they think I'm not looking, they sneak Oreos before dinner. They laugh again, and that laughter has become my favorite sound in the world. Melissa and I have learned to coexist. We speak respectfully, exchange updates, and don't revisit the past. She's been going to therapy. I can see it in the way she talks, slower, more measured, like she's trying to rebuild herself from the inside out. One night, after dropping off the kids, she lingered by the door. I'm glad you're happy, she said quietly. There was no agenda in her voice, no hidden plea, just honesty. Me too, I replied. It was the first time in years I said that and meant it. The unexpected encounter. A few months ago, I was invited to speak at a tech conference. Irony at its finest, considering how the internet nearly tore my life apart. The topic? Privacy and reputation in the digital age. I didn't plan to mention my story, but during the Q&A, someone asked about the line between revenge and accountability. So I told it. All of it. Not to shame anyone, not to relive the pain, but to show how truth, when handled without malice, can set you free in ways you don't expect. When I stepped off the stage, a woman from the audience stopped me. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said. "You helped me realize I deserve to stop explaining myself to people who never listen." We ended up talking for hours after that panel. Her name was Eva. She worked in cybersecurity, lived in the same city, and understood the irony of oversharing better than anyone. One conversation turned into two, then dinner, then weekends spent laughing until 2 a.m. about things neither of us could explain. It wasn't love at first sight. It was peace at first conversation. The full circle. Last month, my daughter had a school recital. Melissa was there, sitting a few rows behind me. Eva came too, quietly holding my hand while we watched from the middle row. During intermission, Melissa walked over. There was an awkward pause, the kind where 100 unspoken memories hang between you. But then she smiled. Genuinely. "She's great with them," Melissa said, nodding toward Eva. "She is," I said, "and they adore her." Melissa nodded again, then turned to leave. Halfway down the aisle, she stopped, looked back, and whispered, "I'm glad it's you who got the happy ending." I didn't reply, because for the first time, I didn't need to. The message I never replied to. 2 weeks ago, I got an email from Jason. The subject line read, "Closure." He apologized again, said he'd lost everything after the fallout, that he'd been sober for 6 months, trying to make amends. He said he finally understood what he took from me, and what he could never get back. I didn't respond, because closure isn't something someone else gives you. It's something you earn the day you stop checking if they've changed. The epilogue. This morning, I woke up before sunrise. Eva was still asleep beside me, hair falling across her face, peaceful in a way that makes the world feel quiet. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and stumbled upon a photo I hadn't seen in a year. The kids and me, covered in flour from baking cookies the week after everything blew up. Their laughter frozen mid-motion. A small moment of light in a dark time. I saved the photo again. This time, to a new folder titled, New Beginnings. Because that's what this is. Not revenge. Not vindication. Just life, rebuilt from truth, silence, and a little grace. Final words. If you've read this far, here's the one thing I've learned through it all. You don't need to fight fire with fire. You just need to stop standing in the flames. People reveal who they are when they think they still have control. But peace, real peace, is when you finally realize you don't have to prove anything anymore. So I stopped proving and started living.